I grew up feeling like a ghost in my own home. Not the scary kind that makes people scream and run, but the invisible kind that nobody notices. The kind that drifts through hallways, watching life happen to everyone else. My name is Jack Thompson, and for most of my life, I was the forgotten son. Growing up in suburban Chicago, our family looked perfect from the outside. Two-story house with a white picket fence, mom's flower garden, and dad's perfectly mowed lawn. But inside those walls, there was always an unspoken hierarchy. At the top was my younger brother Tommy, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. I still remember the day I realized I was different. I was 7, and I'd just gotten straight A's on my report card. I ran home, bursting with pride, ready to show my parents. Mom was in the kitchen, and Dad had just gotten home from work. "Look," I said, holding up my report card. "All A's." Mom glanced at it briefly. "That's nice, honey. Put it on the fridge if you want." Dad barely looked up from his newspaper. "Good job, kiddo." That same evening, Tommy came home from his Little League baseball game. He'd hit a single that helped his team win. You'd think he'd won the World Series. Mom made his favorite dinner. Dad couldn't stop talking about the hit, and they even bought ice cream to celebrate. I sat there, picking at my food, my perfect report card hanging limply on the fridge, forgotten. That was just the beginning. As we grew older, the differences became more obvious, more painful. Tommy got new clothes. I got hand-me-downs. He got the latest video games. I saved up my allowance for months to buy used ones. When Tommy made the football team in high school, our parents threw a party. When I won the state science fair, they said they were too busy to attend. But nothing made the divide clearer than our 16th birthdays. I remember Tommy's like it was yesterday. Dad had been acting secretive for weeks, always on the phone, disappearing to run errands. On the morning of Tommy's birthday, he led us all to the driveway. There was a brand new Ford Mustang, cherry red, with a big bow on top. Tommy's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. Dad handed him the keys, beaming with pride. "You've earned it, son," he said, clapping Tommy on the back. Mom was crying tears of joy, taking pictures on her phone. I stood there, remembering my own 16th birthday, 6 months earlier. No party, no surprises. Just a pat on the back and "You're old enough to get a job now, Jack." So I did. I started working weekends at Walmart, saving every penny I could. After 3 months, I had enough for a 15-year-old Honda Civic. It had rust spots, a cracked windshield, and made strange noises when I turned left. But it was mine. I paid for it myself, just like I paid for the gas, the insurance, and the repairs. Meanwhile, Tommy cruised around in his Mustang, never once stopping at a gas stat. Ion with his own money. High school graduation came and went. I graduated valedictorian, but my speech was overshadowed by Tommy's game-winning touchdown at the state championship the week before. Then came college applications. Tommy got into a private university, tuition $40,000 a year. Our parents didn't even blink at the cost. "We've been saving for your education since you were born," Mom told him proudly. I got into the state university with a partial scholarship. When I asked about tuition help, Dad looked uncomfortable. "We can't afford to help both of you," he said. "You're smart, Jack. You'll figure it out." So I did. I took out loans, worked 2 part-time jobs, and lived on ramen noodles. My sophomore year was particularly rough. The transmission in my old Civic finally gave out. My laptop died during finals week. I was behind on rent, and the stress was eating me alive. Swallowing my pride, I went home one weekend to ask for help. Just a small loan to get me through the semester. I found Mom and Dad in the living room, watching Tommy's college football game on TV. "Mom, Dad," I started, my voice shaking. "I need help." I explained my situation, trying to keep my voice steady. Mom looked concerned, but Dad shook his head. "We're already stretched thin with Tommy's tuition," he said. "But this is an emergency." I pleaded. "I might have to drop out." "You're strong, Jack. Mom said, patting my hand. You'll figure it out. That phrase again, you'll figure it out. Code for, you're on your own. I left that day with empty pockets and a heavy heart. But they were right about one thing. I did figure it out. My friend Steve from the computer science department loaned me his old laptop. Another friend let me crash on his couch until I could afford rent again. I picked up a third job working nights at a 24-hour diner. Somehow I made it through. I graduated with honors. My student debt massive, but my determination even bigger. The day of graduation, I sat in my cheap rental gown, watching the ceremony through tired eyes. My parents were there, but they left early to catch Tommy's spring football game. That summer, I landed a job at a tech startup in Silicon Valley. The pay wasn't great, but the potential was enormous. I packed everything I owned into my latest used car, a slightly newer Civic, and drove west. For the first time in my life, I felt free. No more living in Tommy's shadow. No more disappointed looks from my parents. Just me, my dreams, and the open road. The startup was everything I'd hoped for and more. Long hours, yes, but I was learning something new every day. My colleagues became my family, especially Steve, who'd also landed a job there. We worked late nights, ordered too much takeout, and dreamed big dreams. Then came the company Christmas party. That's where I met Amanda Mitchell. She walked in wearing a red dress, her blonde hair falling in soft waves. But it wasn't just her looks that caught my attention. It was her laugh, genuine, warm, infectious. Steve introduced us. She worked in marketing, had just moved from Boston. We talked all night about books, movies, our dreams. She didn't once ask about my family, didn't compare me to anyone, just saw me for who I was. For the first time in my life, I felt truly seen. We started dating. Coffee dates turned into dinner dates. Dinner dates turned into weekend trips. She was everything I'd ever wanted. Smart, funny, ambitious. When I finally told her about my family, she was outraged on my behalf. They don't deserve you, she said, squeezing my hand. I proposed 6 months later. Nothing fancy, just us, a sunset beach, and a simple ring I'd saved 3 months to buy. She said yes before I could even finish asking. We planned a small wedding. Neither of us wanted anything elaborate, just close friends and family. I invited my parents and Tommy, more out of obligation than hope. To my surprise, they came. Mom even cried during the ceremony. Dad shook my hand at the reception. Tommy gave a best man speech that actually seemed sincere. For a moment, I dared to hope things might change. That maybe, just maybe, I could have it all. A successful career, a beautiful wife, and a family that finally saw me. I should have known better. The universe wasn't done teaching me lessons about trust and betrayal. And the hardest lesson was yet to come. Looking back now, I should have seen the signs. They were there, subtle at first, like shadows at sunset. But I was too happy, too eager to believe in happy endings. Amanda started spending more time with my family. She'd visit them when I was working late, text them constantly. At first, I thought it was sweet. She was trying to build bridges, I told myself, trying to help heal old wounds. But then things started feeling off. She'd be vague about her plans, change the subject when I asked about her day, delete messages before I could see them. Still, I trusted her. After all, she was my wife, the one person who was supposed to be on my side, the one person who had chosen me first. I was about to learn how wrong I was. How very, very wrong. The day Amanda told me she was pregnant, my world exploded with joy. Me a father, it felt surreal, magical, terrifying. I started planning immediately, looking up the best cribs, researching college savings plans. I wanted to give this child everything I never had. All the love, all the support, all the acceptance. But as the weeks passed, something felt wrong. Amanda was spending more and more time at my parents' house. She'd go there during the day while I was at work. Your mom's been so helpful with the pregnancy, she'd say. Tommy's been running errands for me. she'd mentioned casually. At first, I thought it was nice. My family finally stepping up, being supportive. But then the late night texts started, the hush phone calls, the way she'd quickly switch apps when I walked into the room. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. Amanda was sleeping soundly beside me. Her phone buzzed with a message. I had never been the type to snoop, had always believed in trust and privacy. But something in my gut screamed that I needed to know. My hand shaking, I picked up her phone. The message was from Tommy. Miss you already. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. My heart stopped. I opened their message thread, and there it was. Months of messages. Months of betrayal. They'd been seeing each other since we started visiting my parents. The baby, they weren't even sure it was mine. They talked about their plans, how they'd play it off as mine, how they'd get child support from me, how they'd be a family, my wife, my brother, my child, or rather, not my child at all. I felt sick, physically, violently sick. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I came back, Amanda was awake. "What are you doing with my phone?" she demanded. I held it up, my hand trembling. "How long?" I asked. "How long have you been sleeping with my brother?" She didn't even try to deny it. Instead, she exploded, called me controlling, paranoid, said I was just jealous of Tommy, always had been, said I was suffocating her. I stood there, watching this woman I thought I knew transform into a stranger. She packed a bag, raging the whole time, stormed out into the night, straight to my parents' house, of course. I sat in our empty apartment for hours, staring at the walls, at the ultrasound picture on the fridge, at the baby books on the coffee table. Finally, I called my parents. Surely they'd understand. Surely this would be too much even for them. Mom answered on the third ring. "Jack," she said, her voice cold. "What is wrong with you?" I tried to explain. About the messages. About Tommy and Amanda. About the baby that might not be mine. "Stop it," Mom snapped. "Just stop. Amanda's told us everything." "Everything." I choked out. "Yes. About your paranoia. Your possessiveness. She's devastated, Jack. And Tommy's been nothing but supportive." Supportive. My brother, who'd been sleeping with my wife, was being supportive. "Mom," I pleaded. "They've been having an affair. Tommy would never do that to you," she said sharply. And if Amanda felt the need to seek comfort elsewhere, well, she left the sentence hanging. The implication clear. It was my fault. Somehow, in their twisted reality, it was all my fault. I hung up, sat in the dark, feeling something inside me break. The divorce proceedings were a nightmare. Amanda played the victim perfectly. Tears in her eyes, voice trembling, talking about my controlling behavior, my unhealthy obsession with my brother. My parents testified on her behalf. Dad spoke about my lifelong jealousy of Tommy, how I'd always been difficult, always been the problem child. Tommy sat there, arm around Amanda, looking concerned, supportive. I wanted to scream, to flip tables, to make them all see the truth. But I was tired, so tired of fighting, of trying to prove my worth. I let Amanda have what she wanted. The car, the furniture, most of our savings. I only demanded one thing, a DNA test for the baby. Amanda fought it. My parents fought it. Even my own lawyer seemed surprised. But I insisted. It was the only thing I wouldn't back down on. The only truth I needed to know. While waiting for the baby to be born, I threw myself into work. The startup was doing well. We were growing, expanding. I worked longer hours than ever. Anything to keep my mind off the betrayal. Steve stuck by me through it all, bringing me coffee during late nights, making sure I ate, listening when I needed to talk, and sometimes just sitting in silence when words weren't enough. Then COVID hit. The world shut down. Offices closed. People retreated to their homes. But Steve and I saw an opportunity, a gap in the market, a chance to build something new. We've been playing with an idea for months. a platform that could help businesses transition to remote work. With everyone suddenly working from home, the timing was perfect. We took the leap, poured everything we had into it, our savings, our time, our energy, working from dawn till midnight, living on coffee and takeout. And somehow, against all odds, it worked. As other businesses struggled, ours grew, first slowly, then exponentially. We hired our first employee, then our fifth, then our 20th. Money started flowing in, real money, more than I'd ever imagined having. Success felt sweet, but revenge, as I would soon learn, would taste even sweeter. The universe has a funny way of evening the score, of bringing things full circle, and my moment was coming. I just didn't know it yet. It started with a voicemail from my mother. 6 months after our platform took off, her voice was different, softer, warmer. Jack, honey, we miss you. We've been thinking about you. Can we talk about everything that happened? I almost deleted it, almost blocked her number, but something made me listen to the end. We're family, she said. We should be together. Family. The word fell hollow now, but the calls kept coming. From Mom, from Dad, even from Amanda. Tommy too, though I never answered. At first, they were all warmth and reconciliation. Then the truth came out. The family diner was failing. COVID had hit them hard. No indoor dining. No regular customers. Bills piling up. And Tommy, the golden child, still living at home, still unemployed, still doing nothing to help. The messages changed tone, became desperate, urgent. Family should help family, Dad insisted. You're doing so well now, Mom pointed out. Think of all we did for you, they said. All they did, FO. Are me. Right. Then came the DNA test results. I'd almost forgotten about them in the chaos of the pandemic. But there they were in black and white, not just proving I wasn't the father, but showing something else, something that explained everything. Zero genetic match, not just with the baby, but with any of them. I was adopted. The pieces fell into place. The different treatment, the favoritism, the constant comparison. I wasn't just the other son. I was the replacement son, the one they got when they couldn't have their own. Then Tommy came along, their miracle baby, their real child, and I became obsolete. That's when I decided to teach them a lesson. One final act to close this chapter of my life. I called my mother back, suggested a family dinner. To talk things over, I said, to move forward. I could hear the relief in her voice, the hope. I picked the most expensive steakhouse in Manhattan, made a reservation for 6, told them to order whatever they wanted. It's on me, I said with a smile. They didn't need to be told twice. Premium steaks, expensive wine, appetizers, desserts, the works. I watched them eat, watched them drink, watched them laugh, like old times, like nothing had ever happened. Then I asked the question, am I adopted? The table went silent. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Dad cleared his throat, started spinning some story about love, about wanting to protect me, about how they never wanted me to feel different. Tommy jumped in, talking about shared memories, about wearing my hand-me-downs, about how he'd always looked up to me. Amanda sat quietly, watching, calculating. I let them talk, let them weave their web of lies. Then I reached into my jacket, pulled out a small, elegant box, slid it across the table. Their eyes lit up. Inside was a bank card. I've set up an account. I said, I'll make monthly deposits. They beamed at each other, victory written all over their faces. What they didn't know was that the card had exactly $5 on it. $1 each. For them. For Tommy. For Amanda. For the child that wasn't mine. And one for luck. I stood up. Excuse me, I said. Bathroom. Instead, I walked straight to the exit. Stopped by the maitre d'. Explained I had an emergency. That my family would handle the bill. Then I walked out into the night. Free. My phone started buzzing immediately. Calls. Messages. Notifications of declined transactions. I blocked them all. Every number. Every social media account. Every email address. But I kept my promise about the monthly deposits. $5. Every month. Like clockwork. A reminder of exactly what they meant to me. They tried reaching out through friends, through colleagues, through anyone they could find. But their story had gotten out. People knew the truth. About the affair. About the baby. About the years of favoritism. About their desperate grab for my money. They quieted down after that. Retreated to lick their wounds. To pretend I didn't exist. And that was fine by me. I had my own life now. My own success. My own happiness. Steve and I expanded the business. Opened new offices. Hired more people. Created something real. Something honest. Something built on trust and hard work. Not on lies and manipulation. Sometimes I think about that little boy. The one who tried so hard to be seen. To be loved. To be enough. I wish I could tell him it gets better. That he'll find his own way. His own family. His own success. That the best revenge isn't just living well. It's living truthfully. On your own terms. Without compromise. Without apology. And sometimes, just sometimes, with a $5 bank card and a $2,000 dinner bill,